Alright, let's start this thing. This is going to be a MMX 100% tutorial. The goal of the tutorial is going to be to cover sort of more in-depth strats and some of the reasoning behind why we do some of the things we do. So, before I get started, I want to make sure that I mention wikisandshit.com, wikisnshit.com. It's the MMX Speedrun wiki. Very useful. It's where I did almost all of my learning, besides just watching people stream. I also want to make sure to mention Tiki's tutorial if you're looking for something. This one's going to be pretty in-depth. I'm going to do it. It's going to take a long time. It's going to be long. I'm going to do it piece by piece, stage by stage, covering varying strats from different, varying speed and difficulty to execute. Just because it's more difficult doesn't always mean it's faster, but it's usually the case. So I'm going to cover a lot of strats. Easy strats, hard strats, fast strats, slow strats. If you want something a little more sort of freewheeling, leaving a lot more up to your imagination for you to discover and take on your own journey, Tiki's tutorial is great for that. I'll link both of those in the description. I may or may not export this to YouTube, I don't know yet. But we're going to be doing it live here on Twitch. Another thing I want to cover before we get started is your controls. There's no right control scheme, right? The standard controls looks like this: Y shoot, B jump, A dash, L and R weapon swaps, and menu and start. Now I suggest switching your dash to either shoulder button, L or R, either one. Whatever makes you more comfortable. A lot of people use L dash. I use R dash and put my right select on X, so that because I kept accidentally hitting it with my fat thumbs when I first switched to R dash, so I moved it up to X. That, and it's easy to like hold a charge and sort of roll your thumb over and hit X to swap. Another thing to consider is that at key points in the run, you're going to want to be hitting dash and jump at the same time. And for me, it doesn't mean it's best for everybody, but for me, it's easy to hit R and B at the same time. It's just like a pinch move. Rather than having it on L on two different hands, it's a little more difficult. I know Tokyo has complained about that. So just some things to consider when setting up your key config. And you want to get this figured out early before, because it's harder to change. The deeper you get into speedrunning Mega Man X, the harder it is going to be to change your control scheme. So this is what mine looks like: Y shoot, B jump, R dash, left swap is on L, right swap is on X, and menu is on start. Another thing that I forgot to mention is this practice ROM I'm using. You'll notice that the option menu looks nothing like the standard option menu. Miria-chan made this for us. She's pretty awesome. It works best on an SD to SNES. It allows save states, route selection, stuff like that on a Super Nintendo, on original hardware. You'll need an SD to SNES to use it properly, but it's a godsend for really, really good practice. Another thing that you could use when you're starting out is a lot cheaper. The SD to SNES is kind of expensive, but Nakitech Game Saver Plus. It allows save states on console. I guess I should pop it in real quick. In order to use this thing properly for MMX, there is a revival code you need to put in. Otherwise, you'll run into some crash scenarios and stuff like that. I could find the friggin' hole. So the Nakitech Game Saver Plus, it's cheap, 10, 15, 20 bucks maybe. And it's really good. It'll help with practice a lot. And why is it not working? It's a much cheaper alternative to the SD to SNES and practice ROM combo. I do not know why this isn't working. the frick? I've got no picture. Oh, fucking cord. Okay, so for the Game Saver Plus, if you have one, this screen will come up on the second splash screen here. You want to hit select. It'll bring this revival code thing up. And the code is 2FFFE. And that'll save you a lot of headache when trying to use the Game Saver. It doesn't work great with all versions of the cartridge, but it's very handy to have. So, just throwing that out there. Much cheaper alternative to a SD to SNES practice ROM setup. But if you can afford it, highly recommend the practice ROM with the SD to SNES. Okay, now we'll get into stage one, the intro. Your first time save comes before you even gain control of X, right? And it's here. You want to hit start twice when selecting game start. Normally it'll say game start, not practice, but you'll notice when I hit start only once, the green shot X fires across the screen. It has to travel all the way across the screen before it fades in, right? See how long that takes? Now if I hit start twice, it fades in almost immediately. That's your very first time save. You want to make sure to do that. It's totally free, costs you nothing, and saves, I don't know, half a second to a second, something like that. And then once you do that, it'll drop you into the intro instead of this screen. This is just the practice ROM. So first things first, you want to jump right away, and this applies to both this stage and Penguin. You want to do a little hop. Doesn't matter how big. You can do a full jump, short jump, but it allows X to start moving just 1 or 2 frames earlier to the right. If you want to go fast, you got to remember that every frame lost is a frame you're never going to get back. So another totally easy save. Just a little jump. And you want to start charging right away. The goal of the intro is to never let go of right. You're going to come across one of these rolling guys right away. You want to hold a charge, jump over him, shoot a blue shot over the top of him so that it hits this blue guy, and then you want to mash lemons until he's dead. Ideally, you don't have to stop, but if your mash is no good, it's better to stop and finish him off rather than running into him and taking damage, because you're going to need this health later in the stage to expend on the bees and stuff like that. Another thing you can do, if you're Crystal or anybody else with really good mash, you don't have to shoot over this guy. You can just kill him and walk through that way. So, that's the first blue guy. Let's talk about these helicopter guys. These guys, there can only be 2 of them on screen at any time. They're going to want to break the bridge. You don't want them to do that. A big part of speedrunning Mega Man X is reducing lag. And these guys breaking the bridge can cause a lot of lag. Now, there can only be 2 on screen at once, and you can use that to sort of manipulate their spawns. And take advantage and sort of limit where they're going to be, sort of position them where you want them, rather than all over the place. So if I kill these guys right away, I'll get way more guys. They'll just keep spawning, right? A whole bunch of them. We don't want that. We want, in this section, we want 4 of them. So I'll be walking to the right, get to this light post, and sort of right as I'm about to cross it, I'll fire, and it'll take out those 2. And then you'll have 2 more here. You can ignore them if you want. I don't recommend it. I just do a short hop and take them out. If you shoot them in the bottom half, it'll destroy them. If you shoot them in the top half, they'll drop the bottom section and it'll break the bridge. So you want to shoot the bottom section of these guys. 1 shot here, another shot here. And now we're going to get into the taco section. There's some varying strats here for this. There's all the tacos, there's my strat, I call half the tacos, and then there's just your basic easy strat. So I'll start with the first strat. you want to take out these guys, take out that one, and now you got a blue guy coming up. So you want to have a full charge ready. I release my full charge sort of when X's foot reaches that yellow mark just before the post, and then mash lemons the rest of the way. And another blue guy coming up here. I'll release the same shot a little bit before reaching the pole, and mash my way through him as well. And so this is the sort of basic strat. Easy, not the fastest, because you'll notice some of these guys break the bridge. Right, these two guys are going to break some bridge and cause some lag. That is avoidable with some other strats. See how much lag is there? So the next strat I'm going to cover is going to be my strat. I call half the tacos. You want to take out these top two. You want to leave this guy. Remember, we talked about how there can only be two on screen. So if you leave this guy alive, it manipulates their spawns in such a way that you can mash this guy and jump and take out that one. And it's a little easier on me because my mash isn't the greatest, and that's why I came up with this strat. And you'll notice that there's never any of those helicopter guys breaking the bridge on screen, so there's no lag. Now the jump over that low helicopter guy is kind of tight. I'm looking at sort of right before X's face touches this post is when I'm jumping to clear him. And it happens to me all the time. It'll happen to you if you try this strat. You'll do shit like this. You'll crash into him. You'll jump early and land on the backside. It's all about timing, and you'll get used to it the more you do it. I think it's a pretty good strat. It's easier for me because my mash isn't great, like I said. The other strat is the all the taco strat, where we kill all those guys. We kill him, we kill him, we kill him, and now we want to jump and shoot a blue shot such that it takes out, because we're going to have extra guys here. This guy and this guy are not normally here in the other strats. So you need to plan accordingly. So you want your blue shot to sort of graze the bottom of this one, while also connecting with the one behind him. And in order to do that, I jump around this light pole. And shoot him on the way down. And the reason I don't do this strat is because it's a little tighter. You need better match. And like I said, I'm not the greatest matcher, so it may take me a few tries, but you need to do the same thing. You need to take out these guys, and then once this blue guy's dead, you gotta jump and shoot the one behind him, because he's the one that's gonna cause the most lag. The one behind the blue guy. This one. So those are kind of your three options when it comes to this section. No tacos, half the tacos, and all the tacos. See, I struggle with the all the taco strat. That's why I came up with that half taco strat. You gotta be careful with the placement of that blue shot, because that'll happen all the time, where you hit him too high and your blue shot doesn't go through and get the next guy or the blue guy, because you need the blue shot to hit the blue guy behind him as well. You don't want that to happen. Another thing, I know Crystal does this one. You leave this guy alive, because he's not gonna break anything on the bridge. And it makes this all the tacos strat a little easier. You don't have to worry about the guy over the blue guy, right? You leave this one, you'll get this first one, but this guy won't always be there. So that's also an option. Man, I wish I was better at all the tacos. My mash is just not good enough. I'm just gonna do my strat. I did it once. You guys saw it. If you wanna try that one, it's in here. It'll be in there. But this is the easiest one for me. No lag, no blue guys destroyed. I mean, no bridges destroyed or anything. So, pretty simple. Now we have the bees. The bees have got 3 patterns. They can do 3 different things. They can shoot their machine gun, they can shoot missiles, or they can do nothing, which is not the bad pattern. This is the good pattern. You want them to shoot machine gun. It'll give you the most options. This other pattern is, it's not necessarily nothing. He drops the rolling guys. That's another pattern you can do. And then there's the missile, which he seems to be refusing to shoot. Yo, Sleepless. Thanks for the bits, bro. Another thing you'll notice is that every time you hit the bee, he moves forward. And that's something we're going to be taking advantage of. So every 1 damage you deal, he moves a little further to the left. There's the missiles. Eventually he'll fall and break the bridge. So there's a couple different strats you can do on the bees. There's 2 bonk and 1 bonk bees. 1 bonk bees are a little more difficult. They require much better mash. 2 bonk bees gives you a little more room to play with, but there is a chance that you'll die if both bees are passive and drop their little rolling friends. So I'm going to run through them one time doing the 2 bonk strat, which is what I usually do. That's kind of what it's supposed to look like. You want to come in with a full charge, and as the beast's falling, you want to release it so it hits him. And then you want to start mashing lemons at him right away. Boom. And then just run into him. Keep going. He's going to go up and down. So if you just stay on the ground and shoot and mash, you're going to get a bunch of lemons underneath him not doing any damage. So you're going to either need to do a bunch of short hops or 1 long hop while he's above your lemons. And the idea is that you want to get behind him. You want to dish enough damage so that he moves far enough to the right so that you can get behind him and stand still and do what we call a double mash, where you put 2 thumbs on the Y button and sort of shake the controller back and forth. That's the passive pattern. So if the next bee's passive, you notice I'm at exactly half health. If the next bee's passive, I'm going to die if I don't pick up any health in between. Which, when I'm doing attempts, I'll just reset over. In a race setting, you might have to kill him from the front or something like that, really slow. But I guess I could show how to double mash. Do a little hand cam. There he is again. You'll also notice that with the passive bees, it's much laggier when he dies, and there's not really much you can do about that. You can maybe try to kill. Notice how much less lag there is here, because there's no walkers. If you get 2 passives at GDQ, you die and cry. That's what you do. If he does do the passive thing, and you want to try to reduce some lag, what I do is I'll keep shooting lemons after he's dead, and try to kill one of those walkers. If the walker doesn't drop anything, it seems to reduce the lag considerably. That's the missile pattern. It'll block some of your shots, but it does less damage than a direct body block. The machine gun only does 1 damage. So ideally, you get 2 machine gun bees. But here's the passive bee again. I'll just keep shooting until that guy dies. See, they both drop stuff, so there's still quite a bit of lag, but if they don't drop stuff, it can reduce some of the lag. Now, the first bee having been passive, I'll kill these guys, hoping for a small ammo drop or health drop. And if there is one, I'll pick it up. on the way in between. If not, I'll probably just hope for not a passive. See, he's passive, so now I'm gonna die. Nothing you can do. I mean, you could do one bonk piece, and I'll show that in a second. If they weren't passive, you can get right in this guy's face and shoot, and his drop will go above your head, and it'll give you time to react to the next one. You can jump over it. But if you did have passive, I'll shoot him early so that I can tell what they've dropped. And if it's a small health, I'll pick it up. That way I can survive if it's a passive B, and I can do task cars if it's another B. Task cars is something will come up later in the intro here. You don't want the big health just because it takes so long to refill your health. You want to avoid those. So let's just pretend that that first B wasn't passive, and I have this amount of health. Now, we can talk about one bonk Bs. It's a strategy I don't utilize because I'm bad at it, but it's a pretty good strat. Luis Miguel does it, and he's the record holder currently. Some other guys do it. It's a good strat. The problem with it is that missile bees can sort of screw you over, but even then, it's still a really good strat. I'm just not good enough at mashing. So the idea is that you want to shoot the bee a bunch from the front so that there's lots of room behind him. He'll take one hit, and you want to mash enough through it so the bee continues to move left as you're moving right, and you can get out the backside of him without taking another hit. And the way you do that is you stop in front of him, double mash from the front, jump into him when he's high up in the air, and your lemons would be shooting underneath him, and then walk through as you're mashing, get out the backside, and continue to turn around and continue to mash. So I'll try to show that off. Like I said, I'm not very good at it. Kind of like that. Now that will ensure that you'll never die to bees if you're utilizing that strategy. My problem with it is that if he's a missile bee and he blocks my shots, I'll usually end up taking 3 bonks instead of just 2. But that's just me. If you're good, that shouldn't be a problem. I'm bad, so. Yeah, Crystal just does crazy fast single mash. I know Louise and myself both double mash from the front. See, now that missile bee, I'm out of luck here. Other guys can recover from that, and it will still be a 2 bonk. You're not going to get a 1 bonk off of a missile bee, but you'll get a 2 bonk, and you won't die. See, if he's passive, like with this 1 bonk strategy, double passive is not a problem. You'll still have plenty of health. My problem is I can't do it fast because my mash is too slow, so I just go for the double mash, take the resets if I get double passives, and move on. So, speaking of moving on, let's move on. Right here you want to take stock of what kind of health you have. 6 is really good. Anything 4 or more is really good. If you have less than 4, if you have 3 health or less, I will take a look at this guy, see if he drops anything. If he drops a small health, I'm taking it to set myself up for task cars. Because the amount of time you lose for picking up 2 health is less than the amount of time you gain for being able to do task cars. So, and in order to do task cars, you need 4 or more health. So, you'll have a rolly guy here, shoot him whenever. If I have 3 health, I'd pick that up. 3, 2, or 1 health. Well, I guess with 1 you could ignore it, but you should never be in a scenario where you only have 1 health here. It should be either 3, 4, or 6, depending on your B patterns, if you're doing 2 bonks. If you're doing 1 bonk, it'll be more. Anyways, you take him out however you want. It's 3 lemons, 1 charge shot. Even a mid-charge shot takes him out. Also, the mid-charge shots travel slower than these blue shots. The green shots travel a little slower, so you can use that to your advantage in some scenarios. I'll point it out if it comes up in other places. Actually, it does right here. So, take him out however you want. Dodges drop if you don't need it. And now we've got the Crumble. The Crumble Bridges. You don't want to do wall kicks anywhere in the intro. There should be not a single wall kick in your intro. Anyways, when I'm coming up here, I'll shoot right as I'm coming past this post, and I'll jump. You can prevent these bridges from breaking and crumbling out from underneath you, and they cause a little bit of lag depending on what else is going on at the time. You notice how they got all those particles and stuff coming off of them. You can prevent them from breaking by jumping to the very edge. See, it doesn't break here, and then you can jump off of that. And so I'll do that to minimize lag. I don't know if this one even causes lag, but it definitely happens later in the stage. So I'll start a charge here, do this move, kill that guy with the charge as I'm going over the pit. There's another one coming, I'll shoot him right away. More of these crumble bridge parts. Just jump on the edges. This is the part where it can get a little laggy. You definitely don't want to just walk across these. Notice how much laggier that is. So, in order to minimize, you can jump on the edges of these, only land on the middle ones, and minimize the amount of bridges that are falling. Bridge pieces. As far as the mosquitoes go, it takes two charge shots to get through these guys. The first one comes sort of right before you land here on this post. It'll take out these first two. And then I'll usually start charging again here. And then shoot another one sort of right before I land here. If you shoot it like after you've landed, it won't take out the top one. And if you shoot it too early, it'll leave the bottom one alive. So you want to shoot it sort of right before you land. And that's the least amount of bridges you can break. You have to break that piece and that piece. You don't want a wall kick anywhere if you can avoid it. And that's this section. So moving on, we can talk about slope jumps here since this is the first one in the run. You'll notice that when walking down a slope, X actually moves faster. Sort of slows down when he gets to the flat part at the bottom. Another function of the slope is that X actually jumps higher if he's walking down a slope when he jumps. And that'll come into play later in the next stage, in Penguin stage. There's one jump where you pretty much need to do a slope jump if you want to be fast. But by jumping at the bottom of a slope, especially ones where you're already walking down the slope rather than a turnaround slope jump, which will come up later as well. But by jumping at the bottom of the slope, you can maintain that extra speed X gets through the jump until he lands. So this is a totally free time save. No reason at all not to jump at the bottom of this slope. Now when I was first learning, I thought that maybe doing this was a good idea, but it's not. You don't get anything extra. You're already at slope speed this whole time, so there's no reason to do extra jumps here. Just one jump at the bottom is sufficient. And then you want to start a charge here. I jump right in the middle of this tower. There's one of these flying guys comes down. You want to shoot him in such a way that his drop falls in the pit if he drops anything. You don't want him to drop it, say, on the ledge up there, where you're going to have to collect it like that. And you don't really want him down here in your face. So what I do is I just jump here and shoot at the peak of my jump, and it'll drop in the pit if he drops anything. Here we have some more of these guys. 2 sets of them. What you want to do is you want to take out the first set with a charge shot. I try to get it out as soon as possible so that I can read what they've dropped. Regardless if they drop anything or not, you want to jump over this middle section here. This post that X is standing on right here. You want to jump over this, and it'll manipulate the next guys in such a way that you can just walk underneath them and not have to worry about them. And added bonus, you're going to avoid drops that land there. Now, if the second guy drops something like that, you can take out the second two if you want. You're gonna risk them also dropping stuff, which then makes it pretty unavoidable to avoid their drops. But if it's nothing, like if it's not health, then you don't need to worry about it. You can just still jump, even if there's nothing here. Jump over that post, and they won't run into you, and you can just walk underneath them. If you just walk, they'll crash right into you. So take those guys out, jump here. Grabbing a small health here is not the end of the world, right? You can just collect it if it's in your way. If it's a big health, you might want to consider doing a second shot to take these guys out. And then you could jump over a big health that was there, depending on what these guys drop. You can do something like that. Anyways, moving on. Time for some cars. Riding on cars. If you have 3 or less health, you just want to take these guys out. One full charge, blue shot, and a lemon. Or 5 lemons. We'll take them out. And they'll just drive off the edge, and you don't have to worry about them anymore. And then there's one more. Or if you don't want to do task cars, this is also the option. But if you want to do the fastest strat, you want to keep these guys alive. If you have 4 or more health. If you have less than 4 health, you can't do task cars anyways, so you want to just destroy them. And that's all dependent on what the beast did back in the middle of the intro. So, in order to do task cars, you want to I fire 4 lemons, keep them alive, and then they'll shoot a bullet here. You can jump over it as you're going over the pit. This one will shoot you. You want to shoot him. One more shot to finish him off. After you've taken a hit. You wait for him to hit you, shoot him and jump, and then you can walk across him. And that way you get the speed of the car coupled with X's walking speed, and it shaves some time off the intro. They can do early bullets, which can be pretty frustrating. This strat is also kind of risky, because their bullet patterns can be pretty trolly sometimes. But if you get a good bullet, you should be able to clear that. You want to shoot him like before your iframes run out. See, here's the early bullet. You gotta do some fancy dodging. And even then, they can shoot another one that hits you over the pit, and you're just kind of screwed. Ideally, you get a bullet like that. Now, here's another thing that happens. You see how that guy didn't shoot me? If you only have 4 health and he crashes into you, you're gonna have to bail on task cars, because you can no longer do the second bonk, because now you're down to 2 health. The bullets do 1 damage, the car itself does 2. So, since I have 6, it would have been fine. But if you only have 4, that'll be the death of you, and your run. So, ideally he shoots you with a bullet. That next bullet is kind of, it varies. See, the early bullets are pretty annoying. Ideally, you want to have these cars spaced out as much as possible to give you the max amount of surface area to walk across as they're driving. You want to look at when the second car's head is turning. The first car you want to shoot just before your iframes run out and you want to get on top of it. This one you want to look at his head turned around, that's when I want to take him out. Because if you don't, he'll just turn the whole car around and your task cars is over. Like this, I'll show you. If you wait too long, he'll turn around and you're done. So, this is sort of a more advanced strat. It's a little risky. It may not be worth going for if you're just learning the game. But definitely worth if you're trying to go fast. So, after you've accomplished your task cars, take another look at your health. I've got 3 left, so I can save a tiny bit of time by walking off the edge of the car. This light post here is where the cutscene triggers. And so the sooner you can be there, the sooner the cutscene's going to trigger. So if you have less than 3 health, just get close to the front of the car and wait. If you have more than 3 health, you can trigger it just a tiny bit sooner by walking off the front of the car and taking a hit. You want to be at 3 or less health when you get to this vile cutscene after the ship, because that's the amount you need to trigger his traffic shot. Another thing you want to consider is where is that car? You don't want to kill these cars because there's a bunch of lag from both of them dying at the same time. So you want to sort of wait until he's off screen before you kill this car, finish him off, and then you'll get the ship's cars. So 1 car killed at a time will be less lag. When we get to the ship, what I do is I look at this bush behind this, whatever this is, telephone box or something. I'm looking at this bush here, and I sort of put X's head covering the peak of it. And that's where I line up for the first car. You want to have a charge built up, X's head covering the bush. You want to jump, shoot him, and finish him off, and then start walking right immediately. What you don't want to do, and I've seen this from some high-level players, you don't want to shoot this car and then chase him, because now your ship is just going to do whatever it wants. It doesn't have any sort of guidance, right? You want to stay put right here. Don't move. Jump straight up, shoot him, and keep shooting, and then walk left immediately. And the ship will always follow you to the left. And drop this last car near the edge of the screen. Start another charge. Turn around. Blast him in the butt. Now, see where I was I can't point at the screen. In reference to that wing, that on the left side, that's kind of right where you want to be. If you're not there, the ship's going to have to move to line up with X. See, I beefed the mash there. But let's just see how far the ship is left here. All this time is wasted time because the ship's got to move to line up. So ideally, this is not always totally in your control. But if you do like I say here and don't move to the left, the ship's always, if you're good, the ship's always gonna follow you to the right, and you won't get a terrible ship like that last one I showed. The ship's gonna follow you this way. Now it may move left a little bit, that's not too bad, you lose a little time here. The ship could continue moving to the right, or it can stop sort of right above where your car is. So what you want to do is you want to shoot this car and walk left and sort of chase the ship. That's just some mistake I make all the time. Don't ignore that. Don't do that. But you want to be as close to underneath that wing as you can. Sometimes it'll stop there, which is perfect. Now the ship didn't have to move at all. Again, the ship didn't have to move at all. I made a dumb mistake, but it still worked out okay. So, shoot this guy. Don't move left. Go to the right as soon as he's dead. Shoot this one. Try to get lined up under the wing as best you can. And Vile will come out. Now this is an unwinnable fight. You need to be at 3 or less health. And he'll start shooting these trap shots right away. If you're at more than 3 health, he'll punch you in the face. Stuff like that. Take you down to 3 or less. You want to be as close to Vile as you can when you get trapped. So, a way to try to help that, it's not all in your control. This Vile is RNG, he's going to do what he wants. But a way to help get a little closer to him is to turn around, face to the left, so that he hits you to the right with his trap shot, and it'll put you a little closer to him. It's not much. This is a pretty standard spacing that you're gonna get a lot of the time for Vile. A little 2-step grab. Now, if he gives you a different pattern, like this one, sometimes you can go full outer space, and you've got this really long walk. Nothing you can do about it. You just gotta wait it out. Usually I'll just reset. But if you're just starting out, none of this RNG should affect your runs. Like, you could PB with the worst RNG in the world. But one particular pattern I've noticed that's really good is when he jumps back. Before his trap shot, you can sort of wait. If he jumps back, dashes towards you, and shoots a trap shot, you can sort of wait, not get trapped right away, because he'll jump back again, and then he'll come towards you again, and you can get a really good Vile right next to you if you wait just a little bit. But that's only on the one pattern where he jumps right away. The majority of the time you're going to get a pattern something like that. It's not too bad. 1 or 2 steps. If you're lucky, you'll get a God Vile where he maybe jumps straight up instead of backwards when he traps you, and he'll be right next to you. But as you're seeing, it's pretty common that you'll get Viles around that sort of spacing. See, like, this is a pretty good Vile. I'm too close. He's got to take a step to the right, but that's still pretty good. Ideally, he doesn't have to move at all. It's another decent Vile. See, that's outer space. There's not a lot you can do about that. There's some strategies out of there, manipulation strategies, where you kind of stay to the left and bait him into charging. Because if you're far enough away from him, he'll try to charge at you. But mostly you kind of just got to take what he gives you and roll with it. So, that's the end of the intro. One more thing. This cutscene, don't hold a face button. That's how fast the text scrolls with a face button. Hold start when there's text on screen. It scrolls like twice as fast. You'll notice here when Zero starts talking, I'll hold start instead. It scrolls much faster than this. This is a face button. This is start. It's much faster. So that's the end of the intro. I'm gonna move on to attempts now, but I'll continue this tutorial sort of stage by stage as I feel like doing it. And it'll all be highlighted. It'll be a collection on my Twitch channel. There will be a link to Tiki's tutorial, which is less in depth and more sort of figure it out yourself, but some general principles are in there, and it's pretty good. It's good. It depends on what you're looking for, right? And then there'll be a link to wikis and shit, and I'll have a link to the practice ROM if you're interested in that as well. Put all that in the description. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's the end of the tutorial, and I'm going to move on to some attempts. Wish me luck. Peace.